Hello and welcome back. Sam from the Nth Engine Gamers here, and you join us again today playing Cities Skylines. And I'm about to start work on that park I created last episode. Now I have the ability to drop down parks, plazas and modded scenery items. Here I'm just trying to smooth out the hill as I cannot place a park on hill so steep. How I've ended up with the roads around this area so elevated I don't know. I think it's a feature of the Road Anarchy mod that I have not enabled or disabled. However, for now it's easier to just smooth out the terrain. Unfortunately, the same mod that allows me to place scenery items allows me to make terrain modifications without having any soil cost, which I don't like personally, but I'm going to try and displace any soil I use in the future. Finally, I've flattened the land enough to place down a park, and to further the smoothness of the park, I'm just going to go over it once more with a more powerful smoothing tool. Then, I'm going to place a small merry-go-round as a supplementary part of the parkland. We're going to leave this park for now, but we'll be back to add more details later. As I'm cycling through the information, I noticed that the entire industrial park is at quite high risk of fire, and would also be difficult for the emergency services to reach. If I remember correctly, the fire has always spread. However, I believe, with the addition of natural disasters, it can now spread very quickly, and further than it did before, so a lack of fire safety could be potentially very deadly for a city. Now we're back at the park to carry on beautifying it, and we're starting off with paths. Paths have a few uses in this game. One, to make it look pretty, but predominantly they're used as paths. By citizens, both pedestrians and cyclists. It means people use them to get to and from different sides of the park to the placeable parks. Or use them as a shortcut, which is incredibly useful. If someone has a shorter path to get from point A to point B, it means they may very well choose to walk or cycle over using a car, which will cut down on traffic, which in turn, I believe, affects noise pollution and actual pollution. Here I'm just having a little trouble placing paths. As I'm using Road Anarchy to increase the functionality of where I place paths, it also throws up some slight bugs to overcome, like place paths turning invisible, and joining too many paths together in a tight space produces some odd shaped paths. So now that's been done, I'm just going to place a variety of trees down to try and make this park akin to what they're like where I live, to match the green city look. At some point, as I expand and the city becomes more metropolitan, I'm going to have to make concrete parks, and I may have to change some green parks to these type, but for now I want to make the city as green as possible. As I take a step back to look at my handiwork, I realise some shops are complaining from a lack of educated workers. This could be because of one of two things. Either there isn't enough education, or I've created an area that's so good it's forcing buildings to level up before the educated workers are there to fill positions. Unfortunately, there is only really one solution, and that is to educate more people. However, that takes time. So I'm going to place another 2 schools to educate more people, but unfortunately these buildings will probably be abandoned long before they get through the system. It's still worth doing, however, for future generations. I also plan on having the high school I've just placed as a permanent feature. As such, I'm going to upgrade the road system around it and give it a fenced off playing field out back that will not be built on unless I renovate the entire area in the future. After I've been distracted, I now come back to the park. I do want to fence it off, but I'm struggling to decide what with, as there are no ornate fences. So for this, I'm going to use a hedge. I may look on the Steam Workshop for some in the future, but for now, this looks fine. Now we're just going to have another look at the traffic manager, just to see how useful it can be. With just one click, we can see how much is being imported to the city by this one road. As the city grows, this could pose a major problem. I was always going to, but we'll have to make more outside connections to ease future congestion. Now, I'm going over a few junctions and changing the priorities. I believe, in America, at uncontrolled junctions like these, it's whoever gets there first has priority, and so Cities Skylines uses this system, which is stupid. Firstly, because first come first served style of priority works best with the roundabouts, where multiple cars can use the junction at once, and secondly, because people are morons, and will go even when it isn't their turn. And thanks to Traffic Manager President Edition, that behaviour is simulated. As such, you need a better road system in place, which is why I'm using the major road minor road system. The idea being that two roads are a main road, and they take priority over the other two or more roads. This eases congestion on the more highly used and therefore congested road. Just like with the park, here I'm placing down paths between roads. Similarly with the paths placed down in the parks, this is making it easier for pedestrians to get between destinations, where a car would have to go a long way around to get where they're going on a road route. Hopefully, making it more likely citizens will choose to walk or bike to their destination. Here I'm now beginning to map out my city. I did come into this game having a few distinctive ideas of what I wanted. One was to have a historic quarter, which would stand tall above the rest of the city. The issue with this, of course, is the more the city grows, the taller buildings will get. So rather than develop the existing city into a metropolitan one, I'm more thinking we expand the city into the low-lying areas and then have them become the new downtown. This is to try and minimise the impact of tall buildings overshadowing, primarily, the castle. So now I've set the district for the old part of the city, I'm going to end this video, but not before taking a photo of the castle from above the park, with some unfortunate wind turbines spoiling the view, which I must display soon. With that, please leave a like and comments or feedback. I'll see you next time for my Let's Play of Cities Skylines. I've been Sam from the 8th Engine Gaming, thank you and goodbye.